We're live. Y'all on? Okay, y'all good?
Yeah.
All right, let's go. So we're live on Facebook.
Beautiful.
Yeah. All right. So let me just make sure it's showing up. All right. So good evening, everyone. And it is our mid-year motivation, our second win for the second half of the year. And I am your moderator, Coach Takara Nicole, and I am joined with Brittany Heaven Harper and Marvin McQueen II. And we are here just to give you guys the push that you need to get you through the end of the year. So we do have some those of us that are joining us on Zoom. You guys are more than welcome to drop questions in the chat at any moment. It might be something that join us later. That's the freedom of being on Zoom because you guys can communicate with us a lot better than those that may be on Facebook. But this is your opportunity to kind of get your questions answered and really get that push you need so that you can get through the end of the year. And I don't want to say get through as if we're trying to rush through the end of the year. That's not the goal. The goal is for us to be prepared to get through and to pursue whatever it is we're trying to accomplish for the end of the year. So I don't want it to seem like sometimes we're just trying to rush and journey through and just trying to get over with, or get over whatever it is we're trying to do. And that's not the point of this. I don't want us to rush through anything that we do. I want to make sure that whatever we're doing, we are being very intentional about the moves that we make and being intentional about setting clear goals. And so again, this is our mid-year motivation. This is the push that you guys need. And so I'm going to at this time allow them to introduce themselves. Those of you that may not know them in this capacity. And so I'm going to start with Mr. Marvin McQueen.
All right. Hey, y'all. Hey, everybody. Marvin McQueen II. So about me, I get a chance to coach, consult, help push individuals that want to write a book. And so we get that opportunity to get that message out. Whatever that message may be, it could be a life story. It could be uh, where you're trying to motivate people. It could be where you want to teach people how to start a business, start a trucking business, cleaning business, whatever it may be. And so I like to say it from the front door to the janitor, no matter who you may be, you have a message to tell someone. And so I get that opportunity to help people out. And so a little bit more about me, I'm an author as well. I get a chance to coach people as
Yeah.
well. Whatever the Lord have for us to do, we get our chance to jump in there. So serving on several teams, but they are effective teams. And these two geniuses that I'm with, I'm definitely appreciative. So we get a chance to do a lot of things together. But it is great to meet you all. Go to marvinmcqueen2.com, a little bit more about me, but we'll talk about it as we go.
Drop that in the chat, Marvin.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
And we have Harper.
Hey y'all. I don't know. Many of you have probably seen me on Secura's page, and we're together, I guess, a lot more now than maybe we've ever been, doing ministry work, doing marketplace work, and everything in between. But I am the new founder of Recruiting on Social, which is a consulting, a HR consulting business that primarily deals with talent acquisition. So I help folks in business who are like, hey, I've been doing this thing for a little while, but now I need SOPs. I really need a plan. And I really need a team. I need to build a team around me, around my strengths, my weaknesses, around my blind spots, around what my talents are. And how do I do that? So I help them to build a team and to do so primarily with social media and some other avenues. So, listen, we are here to help you all get what you need, like Sakara said, to not only just get through this year, but to thrive in the next 6 months of the year. I think there's still time to do something magnificent.
Yes.
And I think it's just a matter of we talked about when we were talking about just doing this. We talked about how the second half of the year, the number 2 was significant because it was a number of collaboration. And so oftentimes when we get discouraged, really it just means it's time for you to call in the troops, listen, call in some help and call in some people that you can collaborate with. So I'm excited to be here and sharing our stories, our journey, and hopefully those stories will inspire you and light a fire under your behind if that's what you need to be great.
Listen, and that's what some of us do need sometimes. We need someone that's going to light a fire. So those of you follow me, you know me, I am Takara Nicole, Coach Takara Nicole. You probably see me Life at the Well and all things, but I am the execution coach. I am the executor. If you need something done, you're call me to help get it done, because I just don't believe in talking about it, but I believe in putting action behind our words. And so I am all about goal setting. I'm all about being intentional about what it is that we're going to do. I'm an author as well, serial entrepreneur. And so the reason why I've been able to accomplish many of the things, aside from God, of course, but I believe in God in action. I believe that we just can't talk about it. We can't just pray about it, but we have to put some action behind it. Everywhere in the Bible where it talks about goal setting, going somewhere, doing something, the Lord is always going to put a responsibility back on us to do something.
Yeah.
Whether it's writing the vision and making it plain so that whenever the time comes, listen, we're ready to go. And so some of you, we're all going to be in different phases, right? All of us are going to be in different phases. Some of us are in the beginning phases. Some of us are, and we're already in the progress. Some of us have put things to the back burner. All of us are in different spaces, but it does not mean that you cannot get to the end goal. And so tonight we're going to be specific and we're going to talk about all the different things, you know. One of the young ladies mentioned earlier, you know, about going through a divorce. And so sometimes that can be used as a setback or a reason why you're not going to move forward or you're not going to do something. But at the end of the day, sometimes some of our biggest pain can be some of our biggest catapults. Let's just be real. Some of the most painful things that we have gone through have been able to birth some of the most amazing things out of us. And so sometimes it's just a matter of us being able to take what we've gone through, take our pain, turn that pressure that we feel in a moment and turn that pressure into work. So, exactly. And so because we've all experienced different things, today we're going to help you journey through, right? Because just because you go through something does not mean your life is over. You know, it is just another notch. It is just another thing that you're going through. So let's talk about this mid-year motivation. And I got some questions for my guest tonight, I guess you could say, and I'll be able to answer too, but I really want you guys to kind of get to know them because they are two amazing coaches and they offer something to the kingdom and to life in general. So tonight, before I ask them, you know, our question, let's just talk about motivation, right? What is motivation? Why is, you know, motivation a struggle? You know, why is it so easy for us to not be motivated? You know, and how does that happen? And so we talk about motivation. Motivation is definitely it's an inner thing. It's not something that you could do with your hands, your eyes, or whatever, but it is something that has to come from the inside. It's the thing that's inside of you that keeps you engaged with your goals. That's motivation. Motivation is something that keeps that's the internal being of who you are that keeps you engaged with whatever it is you're trying to reach. And so the reason why some of us are struggling because you don't know what to engage in. That's one. What do I need to be engaged in? What do I need to be connected to? And then two, some of us have allowed distractions to come in to cause us to be disengaged. And so the way I was engaged January 1, now we are 22nd of June, and at all of that, everything that I was engaged from 1 to 31 of January, I'm no longer engaged. I'm no longer interested. I'm no longer doing. So and either one of you can kind of answer. So talk to me about what your journey has been like from January 1 to now. And what are some things that you feel like you've been engaged in And maybe what are some things that you feel like you haven't been as engaged in?
Marvin, you want to start?
Yeah, I can. That's cool. Let me tell you something to be clear, honest with
Come
with
on,
uh
preach.
yourself. Life be life.
Yeah,
And I'm learning that it will not stop.
Yeah.
Uh, it will
yeah,
continue on. You just have to find a way uh, to get into your own motivation. So your
Sure.
motivation, it could be driven by internal rewards or external.
yeah,
External should be probably the easiest thing to identify because you got bills, you want to eat, you want clothes, you want to travel, you want to go out, you want to hang out. Those external things, that's why we work. We work in order to have something. And then of course there's the internal side of it is you want to feel good about yourself. My journey, a little bit like I think we heard someone a little earlier when we came on, is that hey, some things happened. I lost some things, and I just procrastinated. That's me. Hey, I'm on your street. That's we in the same neighborhood. We all know what it feels like to procrastinate. The same thing. So since January, we're supposed to have been launching certain things, doing certain projects, and if I had 5 that I was supposed to do, I completed 3, and the other 2
yeah,
was the major ones that I should have been doing, but since it seems to be the easiest one to do, I just went on ahead and did the other 3. And that was not for me one of my best moves that I needed to make. And so God always talks. He always gives you chances. He tells you, hey, I need you to do it. I need you to do it. And then, of course, you have these people in your ear, i.e., these 2 ladies here. They're in your ear and they're like, do it. Just
yeah,
do it. Just start somewhere. Just do it. And so that's been my journey for the past few months, having people to push you and you even push yourself because if you get distracted by what you have going on around you, it will trap you.
that's
It
true.
will
Yeah.
definitely, it will definitely trap you. You will be in this place and you're always saying it, saying it, saying it, saying it, planning it, planning it, planning it, planning it, but you're never preparing, you're never executing. And so I mean, I'm not speaking for them, but I know exactly how it feels. And so even to this point, I'm kind of proud of myself a little bit more because those 2 things that I needed to do, I'll be done with those. I've already prepped and everything. I'm going to be done with those by September. And so once all of that is done, I'm like, all right, now we on track. Now we're doing what we need to do because you have to get it out. You have to execute it. It needs to be effective execution though. Make sure
Yeah,
you really understand that because I don't want you to just throw a flyer up. Oh, I did it. No,
yeah,
no, you didn't. You didn't do it
yeah,
because that wasn't the spirit you supposed to do it in. That wasn't the mindset you were supposed to do it in. And so we all know this feeling. But more, I was a little upset with myself. Probably I talked to y'all maybe about March and so and telling to care about it and you can't tell heaven that you didn't do nothing. So she did jump on you, and that's how it's supposed to be. You need people like that, and I had a lot of pulling on me. People saying, "Oh, it's okay that you didn't do that," or "Take your time. You can do it next year." And I had to stop myself and really get into the groove of they're lying to you. And I'm
yeah,
not blaming them. I'm not blaming the people, but there was a spirit. There was something trying to distract you, trying to pull your focus.
Mhm.
Because last year I said I was going to be done this year. So
yeah,
here I am going against my own word. And that's
Yeah.
exactly what's going to happen. You're going to go against your own word and you're going to still get in this proverbial hamster wheel. And
Yeah.
so I'm jumping off the hamster wheel. I'm ready to fly with the Eagles. So I know that feeling.
Well,
So
that's good. I think that is like I feel like my journey, I was on that journey last year and I was very determined to start this year in a new way. And so very motivated January and just kind of in my way. But I know that I didn't want to start and grow this business the way I had did other businesses. And
Yeah.
so I took my time in a sense because I wanted to create things and be more balanced than I have with some of my past entrepreneurial endeavors. And so then we got to the Bosses Retreat, y'all. And listen, shameless plug. If you all have not been to a Bosses Retreat, I would say get in the room because there's something that happens in that space that ignites you in a way that I think it's necessary, right? To when I think of needing a mid-year push, it's because at the beginning of the year, I had this power bank, right? That I went to the Bosses Retreat, taught there, and so many things were ignited in that space. And I was able to build up a power bank of just motivation and courage and tenacity that maybe I didn't have starting at the top of the year. And so that carried me, right? And even up until um recently over the last few weeks as I'm starting to get drained, right? And then this is where I said where I've really had to pull on those that are around me. And you said something really good, Marvin, that there are people that may have selfish motivations. So when we talk about motivation, motivation is a two-way street, right? But there are people that may have selfish motivations in that um you they want something from you, but it's something that's going to distract you from the things that you're supposed to do. And but we know that we can't pour from an empty cup. So you can't invest in other people if your cup isn't full. You can't speak life into other people until your cup is full. Shoot, your business is meant to help someone else. And obviously they can't do their part until you do your part. And
Yeah.
so I realized that somebody's business is waiting for me and someone's business can't grow and can't scale until I do my part, which is to give them the method in which they should do so. And so I'm
Yeah.
holding someone else's blessing up and really locking into that and learning how to take that power bank and learning how to really share that power over a period of time because we're all going to get it. We're all going to get tired at some point. But taking those moments, and I can think back to those specific moments that happened in that weekend or over the course of that quarter that I can pull from that are moments of motivation that I can use when I'm tired. I'm like, oh, that happened, and somebody said something, and it'll be a jolt of instant motivation that's really kind of carried me. And so, if you haven't been to a Boston retreat, get there and we will teach you how to use those moments and teach you how to ride those highs that will happen in your business so that you can use them for motivation through the rest of the year.
Absolutely. So two things that you guys said, those of you that are watching, and I want you guys to take notes, right? Two things that they said that can help with your motivation, that can interfere with your motivation. Two things Marvin said was there were multiple things that he had on his list,
Mhm.
and he made the wrong decision of what he chose to focus on. So, one of the number one things we'll talk about when it comes to motivation and staying motivated is being conscious of out of all of the things that are on your list that you said last year that you wanted to do, making sure that you choose the one that you have the capacity for right now. Because I can have 5 things on my list that I want to accomplish, that I want to do, that I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm going to write the book. I'm going to start the business. I'm going to start this aspect of the business. I want to expand the business. I want to work on this part. And so you can have all of these different things on your to-do list, even healing. I want to work on my healing. I want to prioritize that because that's another thing that is important, right? And so when you look at all of the different things on that list, you got to make sure that whatever it is that you're deciding to do, that is something that you have the capacity for in that moment. So listening to someone earlier talking about the business that they have, when you're looking at even starting a business, sometimes it means focusing on one aspect of the business. Sometimes the reason why you're having a hard time with getting the business complete is because there's so many different types of businesses, and there's so many different types of things you can do within your business. And so you might be trying to create lip glosses, soaps, scrubs, all of these different things at one time, and it's overwhelming. And it's overwhelming so much so that you don't want to do nothing. Y'all know the analogy that I always give is someone that's cleaning a house, right? And you are motivated. You're like, I'm going to go clean my house. My house is dirty. I'm ready. That's what we say. I'm ready. I'm ready to clean my house. You know, when you wake up in the morning, I'm going to clean. And this is what happens. You go downstairs, you say, I'm going to clean the kitchen, right? So you start doing the dishes. Okay, the dishes is good, you know. And you like, dang it, let me run upstairs. You go upstairs and you like, oh my God, let me strip the bed real quick. So you strip the bed, you know, and then you went to your kids' room because you said, okay, let me go see what they got. So you didn't tore out their closet. And at the end of the day, you have started the kitchen, but you didn't finish. You stripped your bed, but you didn't finish. You got toys out in the kids' room. And so now your house is a mess. It's worse than what you started. And so you're trying to figure out why am I not motivated? It's because some of us, we got to be honest, my life is a mess. Just
Yes.
be honest. My life is a mess. I started working on my healing. Then I wanted to start a business. Then I wanted to start working with my kids. Now I'm starting to do something with the church. And you look up and you like, what have I done? I have done nothing.
Mhm.
And furthermore, what this does is it pushes you into a depression. Because now some of our lives have been a mess for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Because I've started so many projects that nothing is done. And now you're like, yeah, I'm about to be 30 and I don't have a house. I don't have this. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. You know, and so this is why, to a certain extent, many of us are struggling because I need you to pick one thing. I need you to start in the kitchen and I need you to complete the kitchen. Don't go upstairs. Don't go to the bathroom. Don't go to the basement. Go to the kitchen and finish the kitchen. Because if you don't, you're not going to ever finish anything.
Mhm.
You're not ever going to complete the task that you need to complete.
For sure.
So that's the best analogy that I can give. So that was the first thing that I got. The reason why many of us are not motivated is because you're trying to do too many things at one time. There's no such thing as real life multitasking. I don't care what nobody say. They can say it is, but it's really not. It's really, if I'm working on one thing, I cannot effectively give this other thing my attention. Mentally,
100%.
yeah, I'm not giving it 100%. And so many a times we're like, oh yeah, I'm multitasking. You're not really multitasking. You're really doing 50,000 tasks at one time. And then you look up and guess what? Something is not done. So from what Marvin told us today, through his life experiences, because we're going to talk about our real life experiences. Through his life experiences, he said, I tried to do too many things at one time. And because I tried to do I made the wrong decision on what I did first. And so how I like to break it down is make your list, right? Make a list of all of the things that you need to do, right? Or that you desire to do. But really look over that list and say, listen, what can I really do? What do I have the capacity to do within the next 6 months? And that's where I want you guys to start. In the next 6 months, what do I have the capacity to really complete? Because the reality is, you know, you trying to lose weight and you're trying to do this. And some of you like, I ain't even got the time. Okay.
Yeah.
So from that's what I got from that. Now, from what Brittany said, this is our number 2. From what Brittany talked about, I got from hers is that it's okay to stop and build a foundation. Many of us are not motivated and we're struggling with that internal will, that internal gate, that internal will to engage because there is no foundation.
Yeah.
And so she told us to stop and build correctly. She wasn't in a rush. And I can be honest, I'm the same way. I'm where she is right now. Like I said, listen, I had to stop. I'm not coaching nobody. I couldn't think about the money aspect, right? I couldn't think about the money aspect of it all. I couldn't think about the people aspect of it all because I said, I got to build right. And so she said, I had to stop and build my foundation. And so many of us, like I said, we're going to talk about where everybody is. Many of us are in a space where build right, build correctly. Don't be in a rush. I'm not saying you got to slow down, but some of you are trying to get ahead of the game. You got your branding, you got your logo, you got your website, but your back end, the foundation, the blueprint is trash. Can we just be honest? I can be
Can
honest
we
because
talk about that? Because I think one of the things I think we've done well is like we talk about how the first step is like just praying and planning. And so when we start with doing our disc assessment, so if you have worked with a coach and you have not done a disc assessment, it's hard sometimes I think to identify where you're struggling
yeah,
when it's not in front of you in black and white, right? And when you don't have a group of people who are willing to tell you what you're doing right and doing wrong or where things aren't adding up. If it's just you in a room talking to yourself creating, I think part of it is like not being able to identify some of those foundational things because you're doing what you're good at or you're doing the parts that feel good to you. And so you miss some of those, like you said, it's so easy to miss some of those foundational things. And
yeah,
so doing a disc assessment, I feel like one, it shows you where you are in the moment, and then it also shows you where your blind spots are.
yeah,
And so, if you haven't, those of you who haven't, shameless plug. Listen, we're gonna plug all night, but if you haven't, please get with us as coaches and allow us to do a disc assessment with you and really share with you where you are because you can't make a plan to move forward without a full assessment of where you are in the moment. And I think that's what's helped to motivate us, right? Because the awareness of where you are will help you to create a plan for what's next.
yeah. And I'll say this, like the when we're looking at, like you said, like the blocks and the blind spots, like really being able to be self-aware is one of the greatest assets I think anybody could ever have, is
Yeah.
to be aware of yourself and where you are and where you need to make adjustments. Because what I've noticed, and I think it's just what it is that some of your greatest strengths can also be some of your greatest weaknesses. You
Hmm.
know, I am a helper, and you can be a helper to the core that it becomes a weakness for you,
Yeah.
and it will hurt you and it will harm you. The fact
For
that you're
sure.
always helping people. And so when you understand what your blocks and your blind spots are, then I have to get people in my circle
Mm,
that can help me with my
I
blind
can
spots.
speak to that. Yeah.
Yeah, that can speak to that. Now we got somebody in the chat that's on our Zoom. And
Okay.
so we're asking, like, what is your strength? And she said, marketing is her strength and planning, but not getting it complete. So my question to those of you that are watching, and even that you need help, like, what is it that is keeping us from executing? Like, why
Mm.
why are we going through the depths? Or you guys can help too. Why do we go through the depths and we create a plan, but we don't execute it?
Awareness. That self-awareness is so very important.
Yeah,
If you don't know where you are um in life, I want to say it like this, and I'm not trying to, I'm gonna tell you truth on it, but
yeah, be
if
honest.
you don't know where you are, you can't help anybody else.
Yeah,
Nobody's gonna trust you because you don't trust yourself, and you're gonna really come off unsure
yeah,
about everything. Like that disc assessment was something like that's one of those must-haves for every entrepreneur.
yeah,
Um, just because someone's telling you to slow down, rearrange, uh, try again, go back to the drawing board, put the plan a little bit better, reword it. That doesn't mean they're hating on you. That doesn't mean they don't like you. That doesn't mean that your idea is sucks. It's none of that.
yeah,
It's really trying to have a solid foundation because your building the business is like a building. It will not stand if it does not have the right foundation, if the pillars are not in the right places, if the load bearing wall is not strong enough. All of
Hmm.
those things of construction critics, they would know and they would tell you that's how you have to build it. We can't finish because we're not aware about our own self. And the awareness is not something that you have to literally sit out there and post to social media all the time. Hey, y'all, day 7 of self-care. We don't care.
Right.
It sounds good. I'm glad you're telling us, unless you're telling me, hey, make sure you take care of yourself. Thank
Right.
you. Thank you so much. I'm going to take care of myself. Hey, I'm eating better. I'm getting some rest. I'm releasing some of the stress because I love how Takira said it. That giving thing can mess your life up. I
Yeah.
was reading a book called The 1 Minute Manager Meets the Monkey. And it was a part of my assignment with my therapist. And I was like, I don't like the book. And he was like, I know. And I was like, I really don't. This is trash. It sucks. You suck. I can't believe you helping me. And this is not right. And he was like, great. I'm glad you're getting something out of it. And I needed that challenge because we in life will pick up somebody else's monkey. We'll pick up somebody else's stuff and we take it real personal. And then we get mad at ourselves because someone else is mad at us because we took on something that we really wasn't supposed to take of.
Take on. Yeah.
Or even say, you know what, I thought I sent you what the package required, because you do
Mm,
know you won't get a finished product unless it's paid in full.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I had to work on myself because I'm like, wait a minute, did I communicate that properly?
Yeah.
Because I was so much of a helping manner and a good manner that I said, you know what, I'll just let it go. And do you know, if you let that stuff go over and over again, it'll be 10 years that you still working on this one project because you said, I'm going to try it and I'm
Yeah.
going to do it a little bit later. No, be very aware of yourself because you have to put a boundary,
Mm,
not on just people, because remember, this ain't about people, it's about you.
That's
yeah.
good.
Don't just put a boundary on other people. Put a boundary on yourself. Put some levels on yourself where you can turn it up, do what you have to do. And so I think the awareness is one of those things that we have to really pay attention to. That's why we can't execute properly.
Oh, that's good. I would say tools. And so tools, your toolbox may look like a lot of different things. And so we have obviously business tools that we tap into via tech or whatever, but some of your tools may simply be time management. Some of your tools may be um, a team, right? And so I think sometimes things don't get executed because we are not utilizing the tools that we have to the best of our ability and tapping into people and places that we can to get things done and get things done in a timely fashion. So we're taking on more tasks, but we're not utilizing tools that we have to be successful. And so, and I say that at any budget, I don't care what budget you have, um, there's a tool, right? There are free tools, and you may not be able to do as much with some of the free tools, but listen, there is a tool somewhere. There's someone who is beta testing a tool or whatever that you should be able to tap into, and it may require some research on your part. But there are tools. There are tools, and there are people willing to help you. So there's like a triangle. I think it says it's either going to cost you time, or it's either going to cost you quality time or money, right? And so you have to decide. So in the triangle, if it's going to cost you two of the three things at all times. So if it costs you money and time, then the quality may not be there, right? And vice versa. So whatever it is, whatever that thing is that's missing that you're not going to tap into, there's going to be a deficiency in that area. Keep that in mind. So there are things that we could be doing that we're not doing, and we're not getting to a place of completion because maybe we're just not tapping into the right tools. So I encourage everyone, listen, I don't care what your budget is, but find the tools to help you bridge that gap.
Yeah.
Find the tools.
So this segue, this, both of you kind of segued into one of the biggest things I want to talk about. Count up the cost.
Yeah.
This is why research is so important, because oftentimes we don't, and this is in everything, we don't know the cost. It's a couple components when we're talking about cost, right? But this is why research is essential, because sometimes you could be I'm gonna give an example. We got a new business online, right? And so you have your lip glosses, you have all your different things that you're doing right now. And what happens is I need to know how much does it cost to make your product? One product. I'm not talking about all of your products, but I need to know how much does it cost to make one of your products? Because sometimes, you try to couple them in, or you don't even know how much it costs. You just brought all this material, you brought all this. And so you've priced your lip gloss at $2, but it takes you $2.50 to make it. You already in debt before you even got started.
Yeah.
So in all of this, we'll talk the literal part, right? And understanding budget, understanding, you touched on it, like, what does your budget look like? And this is with everything. How much does it cost? Down to, I don't care what it is that you're buying, anything that is in your business that you are doing, you have to count up the cost. How much does it cost for me to run this business? I don't care if it's Zoom, right? Zoom is $14.99 a month. Zoom is an expense to your business. So in everything that I do, I know I got to make back this $14.99 to cover the cost of my Zoom. But in everything, right? In everything, there's a cost. So it's first we have the literal cost, right? How much does it cost for you to run your business, run your life? Even those of you that may not even have a business, how much does it cost to run your life? Some of you don't even know what your bills look like, right? If I ask you today, how much is your light bill? How much is your water bill? How much is your car note? How much is your car insurance? How much how much are you spending on groceries? How much are you spending on subscriptions every month? How much are you spending on entertainment? How much are, you know what I'm saying, are eating out? All of those things go inside of your budget. And so some of you don't know how much it costs to run your life. If you don't know how much it costs to run your life, then you're definitely not going to know how much it costs to run your business.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the biggest things. How much does it cost, right? So then we go into even like the mental capacity, right? Do I have the mental capacity to really fulfill whatever it is that I'm trying to do? And sometimes counting up that cost, because you don't always have the mental capacity for what it is. Time. I want to go back to school. Sometimes the reality is that I don't even have the time to go back to school. And so it goes back to that multitasking, right? Well, we think we can multitask, or we say we can multitask. And the reality is that you make a big mess out of your life. And so now you look up and you say, I've been in school for 10 years. If you would have waited until maybe the kids were out of school, or the kids didn't need you as much in a moment, you might have been able to complete school in 2 years. And I'm not trying to deter anybody from going to school, but I'm talking about, how do we really maximize moments?
Yeah, create a sustainable plan.
Yes, and creating a sustainable plan. Because sometimes, let's understand this, that right now, that I can't do something right now means it doesn't mean that it's never going to happen. It just means that right now, it's not going to be what do you say? The best and highest use of my time? What is the best and highest use of my time?
Yeah.
And so some of us are doing things that's not the best and highest use of my time right now. And so when we're talking about being motivated and being willing to stay engaged with your end goal, right?
Yeah.
I have to really be able to look at my life and say, make, like, example, there's some products that I've been really wanting to make, right? I don't have the time. And I have to be honest. And this is where I'll say this, and I'll let you guys come in. You can't let people make you, force you to do something. Just because one person is asking you to make a product, don't mean you make a product. Right. And that's how I used to get caught up, because one person asked me for something, and now all of a sudden I feel like it's an urge to just do it. And so I'm spending all this time making this product for this one person. That's not the best and highest use of my time.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to take an assessment of your life and counting up the cost to say, is this something? That's why I said, look at your list. If you look at your list and you say, I want to go to school, I need to finish my book, I need to do this. Maybe finishing the book is going to be more logical than going to school right now. Why? Because I can work on the book at my own leisure, versus if I go to school, they may tell me, hey, these are your deadlines. And if those deadlines are not aligning with what you got going on with your life right now, you may say, not right now. And it's okay. And I think sometimes the pressure, and we can talk about this, you guys can come in on this part. Sometimes the pressure of timelines have caused us to do things that are not right in a moment. You don't need to buy a house right now, but the pressure of timelines have caused you to venture into something that you're not ready for.
Yeah.
What would you guys say about that?
I think that's pretty amazing that you said it like that. That whole pressure causes you to do what's called overcommitment. And we get into this, that I'm not going to really say it's a trap, but it's a whole pull. And that thing is pulling at you so bad. I'm going to use your word, pressure. That pressure is hitting you so bad is that you feel like the only way for you to release it is to add something else to your plate. Woo. And so you already have responsibilities. You already have family, you have community, you have ministry, you have activities, you have sororities, you have fraternities, you have neighborhood watch, whatever it is that you're doing. And you feel like all of this is just a part of you and you just overdoing it. And do you know, adding something, saying yes does not relieve the pressure. All right. It does not relieve the pressure. So another coach I had a pleasure of meeting a couple of years ago, his name is Red Wallace. Red Wallace out of Utah. Somebody in Florida met somebody in Utah. Good dude, right? So he says you have to learn to own the power of no so you can own the power of your yes.
Oh, that's good.
He's saying learn to say no.
Yeah.
Then you can say yes to the right things, because we can't free ourselves from anything if our yes column is so full and the right real opportunity, or let me say this, the time that you are supposed to move in obedience, what God is telling you to do, you have so many yeses in that column that the stuff that God wants you to do, you can't say yes to.
Oh, that's so good.
You can't even pull it in at all, because and I know we have some believers on the line and we get real caught up in it. So I don't want you to put your faith in front of your feet. Your feet is supposed to move. And so he says faith without works is dead. And so I hear what you're saying. I love it. We can shout about it. You can receive it. You can be prophetic in the moment, but we have to stop overcommitting. And then when we get overcommitted, then we start getting overwhelmed. And please believe me, just take it from me. Saying yes does not mean that it's going to relieve some pressure. What it does is it adds extra weight where you cannot complete what you're supposed to complete. And so that's why the ladies were talking about putting things in priority. Put whatever it needs to be. I know everybody. I know everybody's in the master's program. I know. I know. But you were supposed to do something 3 years ago during COVID and you didn't do it. So now what you got to do is sit on that fence, finish what you were supposed to do. Then y'all remember recess. Then they'll go let you play. Finish your assignment.
Oh, that's good.
Then you can.
Some of us want to play before we finish our assignment.
Yeah.
We got this mentality where it's like, let's play hard, because it looks glamorous, having your own. So we want to play real hard. We want to do all the vacations and we want to have all the luxury, everything.
Jesus.
And baby, you can't play hard without the work hard. You're going to have to work hard if you want to play hard.
Yeah.
That's just the reality. Like you said, faith without works is dead. And so some of us want, all of the things without the works. And we're going to have to, if nothing else, the Lord spoke to me when I woke up this morning, and I'll talk about it towards the end, about you're going to have to work. I think that's the part of this being engaged. I think some of us are not engaged because you're waiting on somebody else to do something, or you're waiting for someone to say, come on, come in, you're invited, and that's not what's going to happen. Some of y'all going to have to get up. A lot of us is going to have to get up and do the work. like the girl to say, I got the plan, but we really have to look deep down and say, why do I have this plan and I'm not executing it? What sense why did I even take the time out to build this plan, to say this is the outline of where I'm going, what I'm going to do, and not work the plan? But I'll say this, sometimes it's a struggle because the plan is not written correctly. And this is where sometimes coaches come in, because you got to have a coach. You got to have sometimes that person that sees what you cannot see, that's on the outside looking in, because that's the difference between, I'll say this, and I know BB got something to say, between a coach and a mentor, right? A mentor is someone that's kind of going to guide you along, but a coach is going to be engaged, right? Yeah. I'm engaged play by play. That's my job, to be engaged in the game with you play by play. And sometimes the coach is going to say, listen, they've been running this same play on you over and over again. And I'm going to need you to go this way instead of going. Some of us, the enemy has been running the same play on you.
Come on here.
Over and over. He's bringing anxiety. He's bringing fear. He's bringing the same, what I talk about, the distraction, the same, the good opportunities, that same guy, that same girl. And every single time you make up in your mind that you're getting ready to move forward, here comes the enemy. And he keeps playing this same game on you every single time. And that's the reason why you're not producing. So sometimes you need that coach that's going to say, listen, don't do that. Don't answer the phone. Block. Come off of Facebook. Because every time you get on Facebook, you get distracted. And you're looking at what everybody else is doing. And you're like, well, why my business not prospering? And why I don't have a wonderful relationship? And why my man or my woman, they don't do that for me? And you're getting distracted. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes it takes, like Marvin said earlier, we got to be real. I'm going to tell the truth. We got to be real. The Bible tells us, I'm not going to go totally, but the Bible says you got to know it. That weight, that sin, that so easily. What is that thing that keeps tripping you up every single time?
Every time.
And sometimes when you're in it so much, you don't see that thing that keeps getting you. And so sometimes you got to call a coach. You got to say, hey, Coach Brittany, I need help. And Coach Brittany's going to come in and say, listen, Ari, the reason why you keep getting tripped up like that, baby, is because you keep falling for this same thing, or, you're going about it the wrong way. That's not how, you need to go. So that's why you have coaches, because the coach is on the outside. The coach ain't got to really know how to play the forward spot. But I know what your job is. I may not be in the food industry, but guess what, baby? I know how the food industry is, how the business is supposed to run. And so I don't have to work your industry to understand how the business aspects of your business is supposed to run. But then think about it. There's also sometimes where you got the defensive coach, the offensive. So then you get me, Brittany, and Marvin, right? Yeah. Now you got all three of us, because Brittany is going to speak to this part of you. I'm going to speak to this part of you. Marvin's going to speak to this part of you. So now you got a team of coaches that is able to help navigate you through what that next part looks like. But sometimes we got to be honest about those blocks and those blind spots and those cycles and those paradigms and those things that, okay, why am I in the same spot? So again, that's why some of us are not engaged because of that.
No, that's good, but stay right there. And so when you think of, I love football. I'm a football fanatic, right? And so my ex-husband is a speed and agility coach. So you would think some of the most athletic people in the United States that are playing football, why would they then need a speed and agility coach? It's the same reason why you need a coach in business, right? Because a coach helps you cut down the time and helps you with your agility. So what does agility mean in business? Agility means your ability to pivot, right? So what your coach sees from a high level is there is an opportunity for you to pivot, right? There's an opportunity. There's something that's happening right now in your business. You're not making the money. Listen, we're on a roadmap. So you had this 5-year plan, but now here's an opportunity for you to pivot. And your coach is going to empower you in those moments when you're like, I'm not sure what I should do here. They are cutting down your time and increasing your agility so that you can pivot and still make the play.
Yeah.
Right? If we are on a 5-year road, I like to create roadmaps for my clients, right? So you have a 5-year business plan and all these projections and what we should be hitting or whatever. But in that 5-year plan, we have to create a roadmap.
Yeah.
Roadmaps, they may come with check-in points that we have to figure out where we are and what went well and what didn't go well. And those are the moments where you see where things went wrong so that you can pivot.
That's good.
And sometimes you can't see it because you're in it, right? And we used to have this saying, right? That you are in the weeds. You are in the weeds of your business and it's hard. But you know where your coach sits? The coach is on the sideline and they have full range of the entire field. We got someone up in the box with an aerial view who can see the plays and see the things that you can't see, right? So although we have done our best to map things out, life, I promise you, is going to life. It's going to happen. We know it.
Right.
But what you need is a speed and agility coach so that you don't miss the mark.
Yeah.
You can still make the play. You can still win the game.
I just want to say that's gonna preach right there. That speed and
What
agility coach.
you say every
That's all.
time. But yes, you have to have people on your team that see what you don't see. So I asked one of the girls, that said, that she was struggling with executing. I said, what is going to help you to execute? And she said, setting time aside to focus and getting a coach again. So let's talk about that really quick. Now, before we get that, we had a comment in the chat from Simon Steele. He said he used to try to use the wrong tools to fix something and made the repair worse, stripping screws, etc., bending nails. And so he was saying that, sometimes using the wrong tools just makes our situation worse.
Yeah.
And so sometimes, I'll be honest, right? Sometimes it takes getting one tool, right, that'll work with one area. And then working your way up. And it's one thing I'm going to speak to towards the end to answer another question about funding, right? And we're going to talk about that. But Ari said setting time aside, right? And I think one of the major components to staying engaged and being motivated is you're going to have to plan and you're going to have a schedule. You know what I'm saying? And so even if it says, 1 day a week at this time, but what happens is, like what Marvin talked about, someone's always going to need you. Let's just be real. Someone's always going to need you. Someone's always going to want something. Someone's always going to be, have some type of dire emergency or whatever. And the reality is that sometimes we will walk away and go help them and our task is not complete. And that's why I said in the beginning, number 2 was count up the cost. Because if I'm going to walk away from this, I got to make sure that it is absolutely necessary for me to walk away from what I'm doing right now to go and come save you. I got to make sure that God wants me to intervene and to come save you. Because sometimes some people need to fall so they can get the help that they need. And the reason why some people are struggling to get help, because you always save them. If I always come, see, this is the problem with the savior complex. Because the reality is I'm not your savior.
Yeah.
And if I continue to act as your savior, it never gives the real savior the opportunity to intervene. This is what happens. Let me speak to my ministry leaders real quick. This is what happens to ministry leaders that have this savior complex. You are not the savior.
Yeah.
You are an extension of him, but you're not the savior. And so what happens for those that have this savior complex is like you will try to go help people that the Lord is like, listen, I allowed this to happen. This is why you got to be discerning. I allowed this to happen so that they can get what they needed to get. And if you keep on trying to get to intervene, they will never turn to me. That's why they keep turning to you.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with being the helper. Listen, y'all, I'm preaching to myself. Because I'm that person. I just want to help people, right? Oh, that's our line. They'd be like, so what is your goal in life? I just want to help people.
And I'm like, no.
Right. And Vivi is my person. She is my blocker. Okay. You gotta have that person that be like, she'd be like, no, not worth it. Don't go. You know what I'm saying? but we got to be real about what are our weaknesses, right? Weaknesses are not a bad thing. It's not bad. You know, when you are doing an analysis of your business, it's okay to acknowledge what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses. And to say that you have a weakness is not a bad thing. It just means this is where I need extra help, right? So when I have acknowledged, this is a weakness for me, I don't know how to say no, I got to have a Brittany, right? I'm aware. I got to have a Brittany.
That's right.
And then I got to make sure I'm accountable to Brittany. So I can't just be out here making decisions and not talking to Brittany, right?
Yeah.
I got to go to her and I'll be like, Brittany, this is what this opportunity looks like, right? And then Brittany has to be like, BB, I don't think that's the best and highest use of your time right now. I think you need to say no. And so being self-aware, understanding your strengths and your weaknesses allow you to build your team. Yeah. I'm going to build my team around my weaknesses. Where am I weak? Because now I know these are the areas that I need people to help intervene on. And then I can use my strengths to leverage. Okay, let me help you guys that are looking for funding, looking for help, looking for certain things. Sometimes you need to leverage your strengths in order to get help.
Yeah.
So sometimes it means, hey, I'm a good admin. I can go make some extra money being an admin. That's my strength. You know, I'm good at this. Let me go leverage I can go, design. I'm good at designing. Let me go leverage my strength. And then there's some things that can be reciprocated in the midst of that. I'm not saying being used, but I'm talking about reciprocity. So sometimes if you're looking for extra money and you're like, you know what, for those of you saying like, listen, I can't fund my business right now. I got a t-shirt line. I really want to start my t-shirt line. I need you to look at what are your strengths and what can you leverage right now? And whatever you make from that leverage, put it up. But you got to know how much it's going to cost, because sometimes you think it's going to cost all this amount of money. All you need is to be able to make one batch of shirts to flip. And if I can flip that one batch, right, then I can create the revenue that I need to make the next batch. But being realistic about what does that look like in my line? What do I need? So that's just what I would say. Those of you that are looking for funding, looking for money, you're like, I don't have the money right now to start up. Leverage your strengths. That's number one. Yeah. Nothing else. What are some things that you are strong at that you can say, listen, I can be an asset, and you can pay me. Or if there's a service that you need, hey, can we swap services? So I'm good at admin, and you're good at book writing. Okay, I can run your book. I can run your book writing and you can help me with my book.
Yeah.
My book's going to get out and you get help with admin. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm good with admin. BB's good with branding. Okay, listen, you help me with my branding. Okay, I can help you with your admin. What do you need me to set up for you? So sometimes in this thing, you're looking at, oh my God, the money aspect, and it may be astronomical, whatever the case may be, but leverage what you're good at sometimes will help bring income. That's number one. Number two is sometimes utilizing your strengths though too, to bring in another source of income. That's why it's called multiple streams of income. Okay. You're trying to make $1 million out of one stream, and that's not how millionaires become millionaires. Millionaires become millionaires because they got multiple streams that give them, that millionaire status. So I took one stream of doing hair, and I created a hairline. I'm a trichologist. I deal with hair loss. I got a salon. You know what I'm saying? So I've taken one thing that I've done well, and I teach classes, and I've been able to maximize off of that one thing. So sometimes, I'm not saying you won't have multiple businesses, because I do too, but sometimes looking at what is that one thing you do well, and there's so many different avenues and ways I can go around it. If you think about someone that cooks food, right? You can be a personal chef. You can host small parties. You can open up a restaurant. You can have a food truck. There's so many different things you could do with that one gift. And you don't have to limit yourself to what it looks like for other people. Anything I got to say on that note?
Yeah, I think one thing I want to back up just a little bit. I think we have a lot of unnecessary obligations, right? And so I wanted to break that down a little bit. So oblige is a verb. So oblige, it can mean to bind or place someone under a debt. And so if our goal is to be debt free, right? A lot of us have that say, at the beginning of the year, listen, my goal is to be debt free. I'm creating this business to be debt free. Debt free is also in your connections and in your friendships, in your obligations. It
Mhm.
should be debt free. And so what does that mean? It means you should be able to pick your charity, right?
Ooh,
Preach says this, well, he says this all the time. Being in a position where you can choose your charity. So if that means if I cannot afford to be here, if I can't afford to do
talk
this
about
thing
it.
without it costing me, right? Without going into debt,
That's good.
it is
Ooh,
not a charity. It is an obligation that now I cannot afford. So this is what we have to get into that mindset of
that's stay
I
right.
have
That's good.
I want to be free, right? I want to be debt free. Debt also includes your relationships, right?
Yeah.
And that
Yes.
may mean you may have to drop some unnecessary obligations you have to people, places, and things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Debt free isn't just about being debt free in money. There are other things that are currently binding you.
Ooh,
It says the verb. It
that's
says
so
it
good.
means to bind or place someone under a debt. So the obligation can be a person, places, or things.
Right.
And so there are things that are holding you in debt, but you're constantly saying, I have created this business to be debt free. So
Yeah.
how are you doing that? That's a contradiction. You can't
Bondage. And another word
yes,
is bondage. And you
you are
become a
in
slave to
bondage,
your business. I talk
enslaved.
about this all
Yes,
the time. How
Yep.
many of us have now become, you created this business to be free, and now you've become a slave to your business
yes. And the worst employee
because
that
you
the business could ever
obligated
have.
yourself to
Yeah.
things
Hmm.
that like I tell people when I first got into hair, I was doing so many different things and I was like, these are not things I want to do. And it felt like I
Yes,
was obligated, right? You start making products and now people are like, well, can you make a product for this? And can you make a product for that? And so now I feel obligated to make all of
mm,
these different products. And now I've become a slave to my business. I've
yes,
become bondage to the very thing that I created to make me free. And where I could maybe make two products and be free and make the same amount of money. Now I'm making 10 products and my time is all wrapped up and I'm bound to an obligation that I shouldn't have never made in the first place. That's
yeah.
good.
Yeah,
That's
we
good.
create
That's
we
good.
create and subscribe to unnecessary obligations. So listen, y'all. So I've been working with a financial planner, and I promise you the hardest part in working with a financial planner is being transparent, right? So listen, pulling up my credit card statements, pulling up my bank statements, and saying, where are you spending your money?
Yeah.
Right. And so we have to do the same thing. Where are you spending your time, your money? Where's your energy going? Where is it? And then you will find a list of places of things that need to just come out.
So
Why
good.
do we have 3 Netflix subscriptions? I don't know. Right. And you will find that your resources are being depleted in places where it's not necessary. And so you're like, hey, in order to get this tool or this thing that I need for my business, I need to find an extra $200 a month. Or in order for me to be able to afford coaching, right? In order for me to be able to afford coaching, I need to find $400. In order for me to attend this event that I know has the potential to catapult my business, I need to find $300 or $400 so I can attend this thing.
Yeah.
And what happens is, I promise you, if you go and look at your spending over the last 6 months, the money is there.
Yeah.
It's right there.
Yeah.
At the end of the year, I look at my DoorDash bill at the end of the year.
Lord have mercy.
And last year, y'all, I'm not even gonna tell y'all the 430 the 1,000+ dollars, right, that had been spent on DoorDash throughout the
Yeah.
year, right? That's money that could have gone to something else.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's
And
the
maybe I wouldn't
discipline
have
and
said
the sacrifice.
just the discipline and not even a sacrifice. I still would have ate. It just means I probably just needed to cook 1 or 2 nights a week,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? Or make smarter meals, right? We just have to learn to work smarter and not harder
Talk about the
if we
time
want
though.
the things.
But talk about the time because we've talked about the money aspect, right? Because all of these things go into why we're not motivated.
Yeah.
Everything that we're talking about right now, because this leads to burnout, right?
Yeah.
Being obligated to things that you're not supposed to be that you don't need to be obligated in, being bound to things that you're not supposed to be bound in, they create burnout. And you're trying to figure out why you dread going to work every day. I know I did.
Yeah.
I said, why do I not like coming here? Because I'm
Yeah.
doing I don't want to do. And so we talked about the money, like why, I'm just like, I don't have the time. But then let's think about the time, the actual time, right? Because we'll say like, I don't have time to go back to school. I'm like, go on your phone, right? And every week it gives you a weekly report of where you spent the majority of your time on your phone.
That's right.
You've had 10 hours of screen time on your phone. And it will
Lord have
tell
mercy.
you, this is so good. It will
Yes,
tell
it's good.
you how much time did you spend in apps? How much time did you spend on social media? And if you have spent 4 and 5 hours on social media per week, and then you're going to tell me that you don't have time to go to school, you don't have time to take that class, you don't have time to read your word, you don't have time to have self-care, you don't have time to do all of the things that are going to build and edify you, but yet and still you got 4 and 5 hours to be on social media. So some of us, when we're talking about this going into the second half of our year, some of us are going to have to, for the next week, have a reality check and do an assessment of your life. Financially, what is my life looking like right now? Where am I spending my money? Mentally, where am I spending my time?
Yeah.
Where is my time? Because your time is your money. So where am I spending my time? Where am I spending my money? Where am I, the moments, the pockets of time that I have, where is it going?
Yeah.
And then you'll look up and you're like, oh my God, I haven't done anything. Go ahead, Marvin. I'm sorry.
No, that's good. I was going to add even the who, because Kevin just helped us out with some of your relationships are unnecessary.
Yeah.
I mean, we're being pulled in so many different directions because somebody wants you to stop your life, stop your business, stop your drive to do what? Just be there. So they are putting you in this
that's a good one right
type
there.
of bondage. And it's not saying that they don't want you to succeed. I'm not saying that that happens, but you have to realize what type of energy are you giving off?
Yeah.
So much that you don't have it for yourself. I had an opportunity to teach a Bible study class, and the title was moving from exhausted to energized, right? And finding out where are your what are you doing that's leading you to exhaustion? What are you doing that's happening where your energy is being drained? And the realistic part, sometimes some of the biggest things that happen for you is, like you said, the financial worries was one part, but the personal relationships, the relationships that we have on our personal life, like you said, I'm spending my phone, I'm spending hours on my phone, and I said, oh, I don't have the time to take this class. So your mind is telling you that what you are currently doing makes sense.
Yeah.
But it really don't make sense in the reality when you do have a wonderful coach in your life that's saying, hey, no, I saw that. Nope, I saw that. I mean, you look good doing it, but it was definitely the wrong thing. You just wasted your time.
Yeah. Can I be a science geek for a second?
Mm-hmm.
So our brains are made of neurons, and so neuroplasticity, it's we have to unlearn and learn things, right? And so part of having a coach, we talk about being agile and speed and agility and all of those things, right? It's really having people to help you to rewire your thoughts, right? The thoughts about what's good for me, what isn't, what I should be doing versus what I can't, creating a sense of self-awareness. All of those things happen in your brain, and it's going to take time. So if you're saying, listen, I'm only going to pay for 1 month of coaching, that's just a consultation, right? Because it is going to take you several months, if not years, for your brain, your body, it takes your body 7 years to fully regenerate. Every cell in your body takes 7 years for your entire body to regenerate cells.
Good.
You are a brand new person every 7 years. So if you look back over the last 7 years of your life, right? How many things have changed? How many of your thoughts and your ways and your habits have changed if you've allowed them to, right? And
Yeah.
so if you do the work now, I promise you, your life will be look completely different 3 years from now, 7 years from now, 10 years from now. Your life will look different if you put the work in now. When I look at people, listen, even people in relationships that I was in 5 years ago, I'm like, why did I even talk to that person?
Right.
Get up. What was that? Where was I mentally? Right?
That's good.
Neuroplasticity. You have to learn to rewire your brain. And sometimes we can't do it on our own. But it's the things that we invest in ourselves, right? What we're reading, what we're listening to. I
Yeah.
don't even listen to music nearly as much anymore. And Takara will tell you, listen, I have my big headphones on all the time because I don't want to hear people. I don't want to hear their stuff. I want to program my brain to hear what it needs to hear in order for me to be successful.
Yeah.
So if that means I'm in a room with people and I am like this in the airport because I don't want to hear your foolishness, I don't want to hear your gossip, I don't want to hear your junk because it's not edifying to me and it's not what I need to help me rewire my brain to hit my personal goals.
Because you are what you eat.
You
You
are
will
what you need.
become what you consume. And
Yeah.
so many of us, let's go there, number 3. Many of us are unmotivated
Yeah.
because of what you consume.
Yeah.
You know, if you are around junk, you're listening to junk. The only thing that you're consumed with is junk.
They'll get
You know, you're
sluggish.
listening to people that are not motivated. You know, the people that are around you are like, oh no, like Marvin said, they was like, oh no, you can wait, that you don't have to do that right now, or don't do that till later. Oh, your product is going to be too expensive, or no one's going to buy your product at that price. You know, if those are the things that are consuming you, nobody wants to listen to what you have to say. If those are the things that are consuming you every day, do you really think you're going to be motivated? Because
True.
you become what you consume. And so if the only thing I'm always hearing is what I won't be and what I can't be, and this is why I say I don't care who it is. It could be your mama, your sister, your uncle, your brother. You can love them from a distance. Because the reality is there's a thing called boundaries. And I know, y'all know what I say. I know the church has done a wonderful job at teaching us how to love. But baby, it is a thing called boundaries. And boundaries are not to keep people out, right? But it's to keep you where you need to be.
On track.
When I put that boundary up, I'm like, listen, this is to keep me where I need to be. I love you, you know, but it's okay for you to set boundaries and to say, hey, I don't receive that. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I don't receive that. Every prophecy or word, let me just say that has been said, you ain't got to receive that. Especially if it does not align with what I know the Lord has said for me. If I know that what you are speaking does not align with what I know the Lord said, guess what? I don't receive that. Oh, girl, you ain't never gonna get married, or no one's gonna love you and your kids, and I don't receive that. Oh, or your little business, you know, or your little business, you know, that's the new thing.
You know
Like
what that
your little
means.
business is, you know, doing well. I see, you know, my big business, we have to take control over our lives and be
Yeah.
so careful about what we allow to get into our spirit, because many of us are so disengaged with our goals because of what we consume. So because now, like, I listen to so much, you know, my podcast. And so because that's what's around me, I'm good. I'm motivated. I'm listening to the word. I love the Dear Future Wifey. So I'm listening to the inspiration of the couples and I'm listening to the tools. You don't got to take in everything, but I'm listening to the nuggets of what they say. You know, and I'm hearing, like, you know, how it's possible and how they navigated through hard times. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, I can do that. It gives me the reassurance.
Yeah.
You know, that I can do this. I'm listening to the people that started from nothing and now they're somewhere. And that encourages me to know that I can come from nothing, that my parents don't have to have money. You know, and my parents don't have to be business owners. And I can become what I say I can become. And so that's one of the biggest things I want us to understand, is that you have the power to become. And because I know I have the power to become, I'm mindful about what I feed my spirit. Because the Bible says what? Let's go there. Life and death is in the power of your tongue, of what you say. Let's read the end of it. And you will eat the fruits thereof. That's my favorite scripture. You will become what you consume.
Yeah.
And so because I become what I consume, I got to be so careful, so careful about what I allow in my spirit. And that is why some of us are like, you're trying to figure out, Lord, why do I have all these plans in my mind? And why am I struggling to execute what you've given me? And he says, listen, you're not around people that are even giving you the space to execute. Let's just be real. We are in spaces that that have put us in a box. Some churches, I got to go there, y'all. This is Life at the Well. Blurt real quick. Some of us are in churches that are putting us in a box, that have made us believe that you are only one-dimensional.
One-dimensional.
And God is calling you to operate on all of these different dimensions. And they say, no, you can't be an author, because you got it, because back in the day, it's this poverty mindset. And if God is not he's not bringing you out of poverty, and that wealth is not our portion. But the word talks about who he is and who my daddy is. And you mean to tell me that I'm not entitled to wealth?
Yeah.
Come on, son. We got to unlearn. Like BB said, there are certain things, certain behaviors, we got to unlearn some things.
Yeah.
Sometimes unlearning it takes a coach, because a coach has to keep you steady, because I'm going against what I know. And sometimes going against what you know seems uncomfortable.
Yes.
So I got to have someone that's going to say, listen, this goes against what you've been taught. I know you've been taught that this is not how that wealth wasn't your portion. Come on, because some of it is a mindset thing. The reason why you ain't going after the business is because fear of doing well. I don't want nobody to ask me for my money. I want nobody to, to come up on me. The different fears that we have. Listen, our relationship with money.
Yeah.
Our relationship with money has caused some of us to not pursue after the things that we know that we need to pursue. Some of us got bad habits. And so you get the money, but you spend the money. And so you're trying to figure out, well, where are my money at? I can tell you, I could be so honest. When I went through my divorce, that was the biggest eye opener for me in my life. Because I said, they was like, this is how much money you make. I said, ain't no way. No way. Where is my money? And it was because I like just spending money, just doing whatever. And so sometimes God do allow certain things to happen in our lives. Not to say the divorce was that, but he showed me, hey, you got to be responsible with your money. And you keep on trying to figure out why you don't have income or whatever you need to accomplish certain things. And God said, I gave you the money, but you keep giving it away. I gave you the money, you keep door dashing it. I gave you the money, and every time somebody call you, you give away. I got one of my sisters, and I love her, but I always tell her, God keep giving you money, and you keep giving it away. Every time God bless you, and I'm not saying don't bless people, but God keep blessing you, and every time God bless you, baby, you get that money away. And you like, God, please come through. He like, I did. I came through. And you gave it away. And so that's what I say, is that we got to make sure that, so he said, Simon said, we'll put you in a box and dress it up real nice. Absolutely. The church try to tell you what you can't do, right? Yeah. What you can't do this, you can't do that. This is only what you do. And everything you do, and y'all know I'm an advocate. I love y'all. I love the church. Y'all grew up in the church, got a church, all the different things, right? Let's be real though. Let's just be straight. Let's just be honest. Everything is not a church thing. Sometimes what God is giving you is majority of what God is giving us, because that's where we're supposed to be anyway. But that's a conversation for another day.
All right. I was wondering.
God has given us everything is not going to be a church thing. Right. Sometimes y'all know, I tell y'all, I do ministry every day.
Every day.
The gift that God has given me, I have the ability to touch hundreds of women every month. That is ministry. And so some of us are like, you don't feel motivated to do something because you're like, well, what God has given me, it's not the normal church thing, right?
Mhm.
Or I don't see how it fits into this paradigm of what it should look like. And this is why I can tell you, go with God. Follow the blueprint. Follow what God has given you to do, even when it seems strange, because sometimes what God has given us is for indeed outside of the walls. Some of you trying to get up and you trying to find the right moment to stand up and give your testimony. But can I tell you, some of y'all need to go down to the homeless shelter. That's who need to know your testimony. Because the people in the church, they don't care that you used to live inside your car and that you was able to make it. But it's a lady down the street, they got 2 kids that's living in the shelter right now. And she needs to know that where she is right now is not the end of her story.
Not
I
the
feel
end.
God, so let me let y'all talk. Go ahead.
Yeah. Lord have mercy. Not the end. I think as people, we really do have our second win. It's just hidden. Right.
True.
So all of the things that you need to do, like it's no longer where you need to hide. You don't need to hide anymore. You don't have to hide anymore. You don't have to over obligate yourself. You don't have to be in a negative environment. You don't have to be overwhelmed by the different things that you're going on. God placed you somewhere so he can align you where you need to be. And so I want to go back to the being the hero to other people. Until you learn who's your hero in life, in your world, that's where you have to line yourself up into being. Like, follow the examples, because everything that you do for someone else and everything that you do neglecting yourself, that it means something later on. And it's how you're going to focus. It's how you're going to move. It's how the business is going to be wherever it needs to be. So we hear the term, the church without walls. I'm gonna say this. And so truly, the church has nothing to do with walls. You and I have always been the church. The building that we do, that we get together, something totally different. We're not going to roll into it, but your light, your business, your service, just like Coach Takir, your hands that you're touching people, doing hair. Brittany, the way she's setting up teams and meeting in intimate settings with the human resources department of major corporations, that's the ministry.
Wow.
That's where you're supposed to be. That's how you're supposed to do it. And no, it may not always be at the flea market. I mean, big ups to the people that have made it from the flea market to the malls. Thank you for letting us know that something is great and something is possible. But sometimes all it is you walking into place.
Yep.
That's it.
Taking your step, doing what you're supposed to do, being who you are called to be. Not saying that you got to go toe to toe. Let me tell you something. If God tell you to do something, you ain't got to go toe to toe with nobody.
Yeah.
There is nothing for you to prove. It's walking where he wants you to walk. And I love this phrase. And a lot of the things when we're reading it, when Jesus was walking, there's a part that said he must needs go through Samaria, right? He has to go. It was a need for him to go through this part where he did not belong. And so all of you, your creative self, your changing self, your wonderful self, your high self, your expert level self, your entrepreneur self, get to where you're supposed to be. Your win has already been there, but you ain't took the step. How long are you going to sit to the side and not step in? You don't need nobody. You don't need it. I'm telling you, you don't need it. The vision was for you. The vision is yet for an appointed time. I feel God, and I'm going to leave it. And so at the end, it's going to speak. It's not going to lie. Wait for it.
Come on.
Though it tarry, wait for it. And here's your kick. All three of us are giving you your kick. Go in peace. That's your kick.
Yeah.
Do what you got to go do.
Yeah.
Handle it. I'm done because nope.
It's the bubbling.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. As you were speaking, all I saw was it's Fleet Week and the ships are in the water.
Yeah.
And the wind is coming, but is your sail up? Right? You can't go nowhere if your sail isn't up. The wind is blowing. It is here. You've asked for a second wind. It is here. It is blowing. All you have to do at this point is get in alignment and put your sail up. That is it.
Yeah.
Get in
That's it.
alignment and put your sail up. This was so good tonight, y'all. I am
Because
listen,
when he was talking, I thought about Esther, right?
oh,
I
yeah.
thought about Esther because Esther had lost. I'm gonna help somebody tonight.
Mm,
Esther
phew,
had suffered loss,
yeah.
so much loss. And so she's with someone that is not her immediate family. And then
Not
she
even.
ends up in a place. And because, hear me, I'm going to help somebody because the Lord really blessed me when I taught this before. Esther ended up in a place because somebody else forfeited their position.
Yeah.
And there
Phew.
are going to be so many people that because they don't want to obey the king, they're going to forfeit their position and it's
Mm,
going to open up the door for you
yeah.
to come in. But the thing that I love about Esther is that Esther waited her turn.
Waited.
Mm,
Esther waited her turn and she was just as humble and
yeah.
just as sweet and just as wise as she wanted to be. And I'll say this, Esther had the opportunity. Esther had the opportunity, y'all, to expose what someone did in a moment, but
Yeah.
she was smart. And this is what you have to be in business. In order for you to come into your place in your appointed time, you got to be wise.
Yeah.
You just can't go busting up and be like, okay, yeah, I'm here. I'm about to do this and I'm about to take over and I know what you did and go blow. Nah, she had to
Yeah.
be so wise. And
Mm,
so this is where the utilizing the tools in your toolbox, because you got to be so mindful and so careful how you go into this thing. So that's all I got to say. Like you said, it's for an appointed time. And what you said earlier just segues into how I'm going to end this live before I hand it at the end to Brittany. Is when I woke up this morning, I didn't know how. You know how God deal with me, y'all. This about to be good. I
Yeah.
didn't know what we was really going to say today. And I didn't know how this was going to tie in to what I said. But you started talking about the lane. And when I
mm,
woke up this morning, the Lord took me to a vision about the man by the pool. The man by the pool was waiting on
That's my,
somebody
that's my text.
put him in the pool. And the
mm,
Bible says, in my closing, the Bible says, y'all, in John chapter 5, it says that he was had an infirmity for 38 years.
mm.
And he said when he was laying there, Jesus saw him laying there, he knew that he had already been in that condition for a long time. And he said to him, do you want to be made well?
Phew.
Do you? So when it comes to this thing called motivation and getting out there, being engaged, some of it stems from the fact that we just not well.
Yeah.
Mm,
Some of us have been waiting by our answer. You've been waiting. You keep on saying this, God, I need more money. And he said, your answer's right there in the pool. Get up and get in the pool. But what some of us get the
mm.
opportunity that tonight, Jesus is saying, listen, I'm passing by, right?
Yeah.
And I know you didn't get in the pool. I know you didn't jump into the business. I know you didn't jump into the answer. But tonight he's giving you the opportunity. And he's like, listen, these are the tools for you to be well.
Yeah.
In your business, in your life. I know you didn't, right, get in the pool, but he's coming to you personally to say, hey, do you want to be whole? Do you want to
Mm,
be well? Do you want your business well? Do you want your family well? And if you do, the only thing you got to do is get up. That's what I'm saying, that there's a responsibility. Come on. There's a responsibility on our part.
Just get
yeah.
up.
Just get up.
Just get up.
You've been laying down for a long time. But if you want your business and your life to be well, and if you want to stay engaged, if you want to see those 2024 goals come to pass, your word today is get up.
Get up.
For 10 years,
Mm.
you've been laying by this idea. For 10 years, you've been laying by this goal. For 10
True.
years, you've been laying by this idea. But for 10 years, you've been laying with this book. And you ain't did nothing yet. And so he said, listen, now is your opportunity. I done sent Brittany, Takara, and Marvin to you to say, hey, do you want to be well? And if your answer, he said, and it's crazy because he said his answer first was, I have nobody to put me in the pool.
Mm.
And so Jesus said, I didn't ask you all that, right? I didn't ask you. Come on, somebody. I didn't ask you
About what you
why.
didn't have.
I didn't ask you for any of this. He just said, do you want to be well? I don't need your excuses. I just want that you want to be well. Do you want the business? Do you want the relationship? Do you want it? And if you do, I need you to get up. And that's what God is saying tonight. Because I'm gonna bring a minute. That's what he's saying tonight. Do you want it or not? Do you want the coaching or not? Do you want to fulfill your dreams and your aspirations or not? And if you do, it's going to require you to get up. It's going to require you to make sacrifices. It's going to require you to be disciplined. Because you can't keep sitting by the pool, sitting by your answer and waiting on somebody to put you in a game. Listen, if you ain't got the platform, you create the platform.
Create it.
Create it.
Yeah.
If you ain't got the following, go find the following. And it's not going to be sometimes what you think it's going to be. You may only have 5 people. Man, listen, you don't know many people. I ain't had that many followers a long time ago. Barely, and I ain't got that many.
I love my 5 people.
But I'm grateful for the ones that I have now. But some people ain't know who I was. And there are people that still don't know who I am. So it's going to be an ongoing process. It ain't going to be something, that is just going to be here today and, it's just going to be $1 million business. Y'all, it takes time. Amazon didn't become $1 million business just in one. He started in his garage and built to factories. And sometimes we get stuck on somebody else's end goal that we lose our own.
Ooh.
I can't get stuck on where you are, Brittany. Did I forget I got to start somewhere? And I need you to understand that. Don't get stuck on where you see somebody at. Don't get stuck on where you see me at. Oh, yeah, she got, multiple business. Yeah. But let me tell you something. 4 years ago, I didn't have what I have today. It took hard work, discipline, sacrifices to get it. And so the word is get up. You've been laying by this thing for too long. And he's not asking for your excuses as to why your assignment is not complete. He's not asking for excuses as to why you're laying here. And he said, but the water is, but why are you? He didn't ask you that. He just want to know, because he said, listen, I just want to cut to the chase. I just want to get to the solution. Do you want to be well? And if that is your answer today, you got to get up. And so those of you that are watching now, those of you that are going to watch later on, the word for today is get up. And getting up for some of us means make the investment. Let's just be real. You have to make the investment. If you can find money, like BB said, you can find money for everything else. But why haven't we found the money and the time for the things that are going to help us reach our assignment? BB?
No, that's really good. That's really good. I think when we talk about wanting a coach so that we can increase our speed and agility in our businesses, especially as we go into 2025, right? I think 2024, we have the vision, listen, we've written the vision, we've made it plain. But if you want to increase your speed and agility in business, then I would say certainly join us in October for our business intensive. We are spending 2.5 days doing just that, increasing your speed and agility in business. right? So if you're saying I need coaches, I need people who can see what I can't see. I need a playbook and I need someone up in the box who can read the field and tell me where I'm making mistakes. Tell me where I went wrong this year. I need to see it. So that I can create a stronger, better plan of execution for 2025. Because some of y'all gonna be left in the dust. When I tell you that the year of 25 is gonna be a year of acceleration, meaning if ain't no gas in your car, listen, if there's no gas in your car, if the wheels haven't been rotated and all of the things and you are not ready, you are going to miss it. I promise you the three faces that you see on this screen and the other four coaches that are going to join us, the things that we have built over the last year, they are set to accelerate in 25.
Yeah.
And I don't say that lightly. When I see the goals and when I see the $1.4 million goals, these are real goals, right? We map out real life, real goals, real money, real dreams. I think somebody put in the chat that I've shared my vision. I've shared my vision with people and they make it seem like it's too big. I'm going to tell you this, get in a room with people who can hear your dream, that can hear your vision. They aren't intimidated by it, but they are like, yes, that vision that you have is almost too small and we need to go bigger. You need to be in a room with people who are not intimidated by what you are saying that you see, but with people who are going to push you to do that plus, that and that beyond, that plus.
Right.
Get in a room with people who are on that level. I think part of the issue is that we get into a space where, listen, I always say we're on level 1, right? And then you get to 1.9 and you're at the top of that level. And although 2.0 is the next level, you are at the bottom of that range. Get into a room with people who are doing above and beyond what you are doing on the next level. Because it's going to push you. They're going to pull you up. Some of you are just being pulled down because you are now at 1.9 and you haven't found a room of people who are in the 2+ range to really start to pull you up and pull you into the next level of your business.
Say
So in
something
October,
because
yeah.
before you get that, and because I remember reading something on Facebook and they said you didn't know that making $10,000 a month was possible until you got in the room with people that was making $10,000 a month. You
For
didn't
sure.
know that $100,000 a month
Was
was
even possible.
until you
Until-
got into the room with people that was
Mm.
making, and so sometimes it's just about being in the room. Don't be intimidated, but it's about just being in the room, because when you get in the room, it makes it come alive. And I
Yeah.
didn't even know that certain things were possible until I got in the room with people. And I was
Yep.
just like, oh, yeah, I could do that. I
Yep.
thought that it was so hard. But understanding that what God has graced you to do, He's graced you to do it. And so I didn't even know, it wasn't even the money aspect. There were just ideas I had in my mind. And I was
Mhm.
like, well, I could just travel and do this. And in my mind, people around was like, that's not possible. You can't live in 2 states. Why would you do that? That's not smart. You need to have,
Mhm.
that's not smart for you. You're going to wear yourself
Yeah.
out. Not understanding that God graced me to do it.
Yeah.
And so you will let people talk you out of your own promise because they're not graced for it. They'll think you're not graced for it. And so the
Mm.
idea that you got, now you're like, oh
Hey,
no, that's not possible.
man.
Can't do that because they're not graced for it. And so
Woo.
because they're not graced for it, they'll never see it. They'll never
Never.
be able to do it. There are
Never.
some that would never be able to live in 2 states. You know why? Because they ain't got the discipline for it. But if
Yeah.
God put it in you and you do the work, because that's a work thing, and you do
Work.
the work to prepare yourself to operate and you live your life and structure and your kids, all of those different components, guess what? It comes alive. And so
For
I
sure.
didn't know that there were things that were even possible, like living in 2 different states and operating a business in 2 different states, until I seen somebody doing it. I was like, why did I let people talk me out of what I knew God called me to do? So don't let people talk you out of what God has called you to do. Just
Yeah.
because they can't do it, don't mean it's
Mm.
impossible for you.
It's possible.
It's so funny when I look back over, 5 or 6 years ago when me and Takara met, and we were mapping out, oh, we'll do $100,000, right? And we thought this was good money, y'all. We were like, right, we were all of our plans. The goal was $100,000, like, and I lied to y'all not. And we really thought we were doing something. And so compared to now, when I look at our plans and the plans are in the millions and what we're mapping out is completely different, right? We're using the same tools in our toolbox. We've added a few extra people to the team because we know that we can't do it ourselves. But now the goal is so much bigger,
Yeah.
right? Now the goal is so much bigger. And so I say this, and I say this all the time. If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, take a team.
That's good.
And so we're giving you an opportunity to have a team of people who can speak to you mentally, physically, emotionally about what is happening in your business and help you to increase your speed and agility in business. That's what we're doing. We are helping you. We're going to pray, plan, and execute together, right? You are not alone in this process. And it's so easy as entrepreneurs to feel and to get siloed, right? And you feel like I'm the only one going through this. Why? Because your mama ain't never started no business, your daddy ain't never started no business. They don't know the type of business, they don't know your industry. And there's so many factors that may make you feel like you are alone in this process. But we are saying, listen, come with us, be in the room with us, because we know one thing, synergy, and we know that God is going to be in the room, that He's going to move. And we say that with, because listen, it's been stirring already tonight, right?
Try.
And so we make no mistake that God is going to be in the room and that He's going to move and He's going to bless all the businesses and all the business owners that will be there. But if you need community, right? If you need community, if you need some thought partners in your business that you can trust, where you don't feel like if I tell you what's going to happen, y'all going to run out of here with my thoughts about my business. Because listen, it happens, y'all. But if you need a safe space, if you need a safe space to pour and be poured into, and for people that can really say, listen, they want to help you to overcome your blocks and blind spots. They want to help you to align your values. They want to help you to create a clear plan with measurable goals. And they're going to help you to overcome the weight of your business. If you have said, yes, I need any of those things, I encourage you to join us October the 4th and 5th. In Baltimore. We are going to do an intensive, and we have about four other coaches. It's not just us, right? There's about four other coaches that will be joining us. There's a prayer breakfast as well, because we know that we value you, we value your time. And if nothing else, we're not like other coaches who just want to give you real surface level stuff, right? That's not what we're here to do. We want to give you the nitty gritty details, actionable items. You're going to leave. Listen, bring your laptop, bring your notepad, bring your highlighters. Listen, bring whatever you feel like you need. Bring it all, because you are going to leave with literally everything necessary for you to have a phenomenal 2025. And we're not going to do it at the end of the year. We're not going to do it in December, because if you don't have enough time to plan, then you won't have enough time to execute. So we're going to do it in October so that everyone has time to take their plan and to really cultivate and develop it. Like I said, you'll have a team of people to really help you, and to make sure that it happens. So I would say get your tickets now. Listen, we don't like real large groups. We like to keep things pretty intimate. So once the tickets are sold out, they're sold out, because we want to be able to help you on an individual basis, with your business, and assess where you are, and then help you to create a plan for where you would like to go.
Well, that is all that we have for you guys tonight. Prayerfully, you guys have learned something, gained something. And of course, those of you that are going to watch later, if you have any. Now, if you weren't on, I can't guarantee we're going to answer all y'all questions, because we told y'all what time we was going to be on. Answer 2, 3,
For
4,
sure.
5, kind of question. But if you are interested in coming in October, please go and get your tickets today. They're on takaranicole.com. The links are also inside the chats as well. for you guys to go and grab your tickets. We have payment plans as well. You can get your tickets today for as low, I think it's $25. And you just pay $25 a week until the $299 is paid off. So real low cost. Listen, one phone call, I ain't gonna lie, one phone call for some of us is not even $299. So for you getting 2.5 days for only $299 is definitely a steal. And I cannot promise you that it will ever be $299 again. But
Yeah, this is a moment, y'all. We're building and we have found a place where we can pick our charity, right? So all of
yes,
us have decided on a time and a place where we can give you the best of what we have at a reasonable rate because we've been there. Listen, and then some of us listen not that long ago, but because we have taken those tools and it has accelerated the process. And I'm grateful that there's been when you build a team, right, and you build it right, acceleration is possible. And
absolutely.
so it's really about getting in the room with the right people. And so listen, the chat is, I mean, not the chat, but the links are in the chat on Facebook and on Zoom. And listen, share this with someone. I want to say this. Even if you're like, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I'm doing well and I don't need this thing. That's fine. But share this with maybe two or three people that are. Or if they've come to you and they've shared something with you and you're like, I don't know if I can help you with that. There's about 8 people who are saying they are willing, right? They're saying we are making time and space and we are willing to help. So share this with about 3 people if you could who need a little bit of help, who need a little bit of that push, right? Who listen, if you see them by the end of we're the second half of the year, you see them by in another month and they look like they are dragging and their business is dragging them.
Send this to
Share
them
this with them and tell them help is here. It's on the way. Get in the room.
and get
That's
up.
right.
Get up.
That's it. Get up.
Get up. Get up. That was our word tonight. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Brittany Heaven Harper and Marvin McQueen II for joining this amazing live. I love you guys so much. This was amazing. This helped me, Emily, because like when God comes in, He starts speaking. He's speaking to us as well. So thank you guys. For those of you that are hopping on really quick, go back after this goes off and re-watch this replay. I'm telling you, it's going to bless your life. We're just talking about how to stay motivated and how do you really accomplish and fulfill your goals. So again, thank you guys for watching. Those of you on Zoom and on Facebook as well. I hope to hear from you guys soon. Again, if you want to attend our event in October, it's only $299 for 2.5 days. Go and get your tickets today at takaranicole.com. And so we love you guys, and you guys